Welcome everybody to this next part of my free trading course about supply and demand trading with the Metagrid supply and demand indicator. In this part I show you the different alerts the indicator can give you and the scan function of this indicator. Let's go into it. You can choose different alerts from the supply and demand indicator, and to set these alerts you go to a chart where the supply and demand indicator is attached, and then we go here with the mouse in our chart. We made a click on our right mouse button, we choose indicators, and then you get here this window. Then you see this indicator is attached, the Metagrid volume SD indicator, and then we click here on edit. And then this setting window opens. The alerts we can set are here. You can see we have here the first alert is alert approach, the next one is the alert for in zones, an alert for fresh zones, and the strong signal scan. You can see that I have all alerts turned to true. This means the scanner would give me for every of these possibility alerts a desktop alert, for example, or you can get an email notification or notification by your mobile phone. You can choose what alerts you want to have, and you can change this by scrolling here down. Here are the alert settings. You can choose the alert for desktops, for email, and for your MT4 app, so basically for your mobile phone. I use at the moment only the desktop alerts because I'm very often in front of my screen and I see then the alerts directly. I go through now all of these alerts and what they mean, and then I show you how you can use the supply and demand indicator to scan for different alerts, and I will explain to you what this button does here in the right upper corner here. You can change where the button appears. You can use this corner, or this corner. I use this one here. And we begin with the first alert. It's the approach alert. The approach alert gives you an alert when the candles or the price comes close to, for example, a demand zone or a supply zone. So you get an early warning that the price is near to a supply or demand zone, and then you can maybe think about planning a trade. And here's an example how this approach alert looks like. You can see this first row here in my desktop alert window. Price approaches a supply level on EuroCAD. This is the EuroCAD which is open, and you can see that the price comes closer to this supply zone, and that is exactly what the alert tells you, that price is near to a supply zone here. Time frame 0 means that this alert has been found on the current time frame, so it depends what time frame you have opened this pair, but 0 means this alert has been found on the current time frame. If it's a different time frame, you will see here, for example, 15 or 60 or 30. So if you use the multi-time frame analyze and not a single time frame analyze, then you know that the scanner can analyze more time frames at once, and then you can see here different numbers for which time frame this alert has been found. So if you want to get an early alert when the price comes to a supply or demand zone, you would use or active this approach alert. And then, for example, like here we are on the Aussie CAD, you would turn this alert on, and as soon as the price comes, for example, now closer to this demand zone, let's say the price is then here, then you would get then here an alert. And so if, for example, you could open your most loved pairs for the week or for the day, and then you turn on this alert, and as soon as the price approaches such a level or zone, then you get this alert. Later, like I told you, I show you how you can use the scan method. With the scan method, the indicator can scan all the pairs here on your market watch window and will look for such approaches, for example. You can then choose what alert you want to have, and the indicator scans through all the pairs. But what I show you now is that you have opened one pair on this chart, and then maybe you have opened 4 or 5 more charts with different pairs, and then you turn the alerts on what you like. So this was the alert for approaches. The next alert is the in-zone alert. The in-zone alert gives you an alert when price is in a demand or supply zone. So if the candle goes here down and down and down, and then it is here, for example, and then you would get an alert, if you have this alert turned to true, that the price is now in such a demand zone, for example. And here's an example for such an alert. You can see the first row here. Price is in a demand zone on the CAT Swissy, time frame 0, so this means the current time frame, and this is the pair, and you see the candle, the actual candle, the current candle is here in this zone, and this is the reason why you got this alert. So for what is this alert good? The difference between the approach alert and the in-zone alert is that the approach alert is more or less an early warning sign if you maybe want to trade exactly here these upper lines, for example on a demand zone, so that you say, okay, I want to get an early warning when price is close to such a zone, and then I place maybe here my buy entry and then my stop loss, and then I wait what happens with this trade. So this is a possibility to get an alert if you use this trading method. If you use the in-zone alert, you want to have a little more information what the price is doing on such a zone. So you would not basically trade blindly here, for example, the demand zone when the price comes close to it. So you would wait that the candle dives a little bit in this zone, and then you would wait for price action if you see, yeah, this is a zone where price reacts and goes up again, and then you would jump into a trade. So basically, if you use the in-zone alerts, you wait a bit longer. Of course, you can turn on all the alerts on like I did, so that you get all the picture and all the big picture of the charts and all the alerts, but it depends really what is your beloved trading style with supply and demand trading, and then you can choose the alerts you want to go with. So this was the in-zone alert. The next alert is the fresh zones alert. Maybe you can already imagine what a fresh zone alert is about. The fresh zone alert would give you an alert as soon as it finds a fresh created supply or demand zone. For example, if you check here this demand zone, this zone has been created here, and like I told you in the previous videos, the indicator calculates these zones by volume, by behavior of the candles before, and then how the price develops. And in this case, for example, the indicator has been found this demand zone after this big green candle. Normally it takes 1 or 2 candles that the indicator can decide if it's a demand or supply zone, but in this example this big green candle was enough for the indicator to know, yes, based on the volume and the behavior of the price before, it was in a little bit in a range, and then came this outbreak. So the demand zone has been created here, and like I explained you in my previous videos, the beginning of the box is the beginning of the demand zone. So after this green candle closed, the indicator had painted here this white demand zone, a H1 demand zone, and then it's a fresh zone. It has been found here, it has been displayed on your chart, and if you have the fresh zone alert turned on, then you would get an alert after the close of this green candle. So you would know there has been a very new fresh demand zone created in this example here. And what is this helpful? And why is this helpful? For example, you know exactly all the fresh zones, and you can plan your trade like I showed you in the previous videos. After this candle has been closed, you get the demand zone, you get the alert, and then you can say, okay, I place here, for example, an alert from MT4, like I showed you, that you get an alert when price comes back to this zone, and then I wait for price action. Or you trade the supply and demand zones blindly, which is more risky, I explained this to you in the previous videos. And then you had placed here a buy entry, and you can see with the next candle the price came back into our H1 demand zone, and from there on it reacted and it was going up max 170 pips in this example. So you don't miss any fresh zones anymore if you have the inbox alert turned to true, and then you can plan all your trades. Like I told you, with MT4 alerts, for example, or you place the entries blindly if you want to go with the riskier method. And here you can see an example of this fresh zone alert. In this case, it was on the CAD yen. You can see in this case the indicator needed 2 candles to know that is a fresh supply zone has been created. So with the close of this red candle, this supply zone has been displayed on your chart, and in the same moment you would have gotten here this alert which tells you, yes, there's a fresh supply zone on this pair and on this current time frame. And then you could, like I told you, plan your trade for this supply zone. If you like it, you trade it. If you want to wait, you place here an alert. So when price comes back, you can then decide if you want to go with this trade or not. So you don't miss any fresh zones anymore if you use the fresh alert. And now comes, in my opinion, the most important alert which you can use with the supply and demand indicator. It's the strong signal scan. It's a new alert. It has been it was not added in the first version of the supply and demand indicator, and it has been added with the 2023 version. So in these versions you find this fresh new alert, and like you can imagine, it says strong signal. So in this case the scanner does a lot of work for you and decides, yes, this is a strong signal, maybe it's good to take it. And we look on examples. To explain to you what a strong signal means, I switched here to the Euro Yen H1 time frame. I use here at the moment a single time frame mode, so we only get the supply and demand zones for the current time frame. So no multi-time frame analyze, but of course all alerts work with all the modes of the scanner. I already told you what a strong signal is in the previous videos, and this is the method I use the most to trade with supply and demand trading. Let's check here this supply zone. This supply zone has been created here. So with the close of this red candle, this new zone has been created, and if we want to trade with price action and not blindly, the supply and demand zones, which I do recommend to you, that you use the price action method, which is basically the strong signal method. We wait firstly that the price comes back to this zone. So we can use, for example, the alert I showed you before when the price comes back. But if you would do it manually, you see there's a new fresh zone. You place here an alert at the lower end of this supply zone. From MT4, for example, the alert. I showed you this in the previous videos, how we do this. And then price came back on this day. And then if you use the method with price action, you would not jump blindly here into a trade, because we don't know yet if this supply zone does really hold. We watch what the price does and what price action we see. And we see that with the next candle, the price comes here really deep into the supply zone, but the supply zone did hold. You can see it has not been broken. It stayed here in this zone. And with the next candle, we get a really strong red candle. So an engulfing candle. It engulfs the complete body of the previous candle, and it is a red candle, so a sell candle. And this is a strong sell signal, because firstly, the zone did hold. Price touched this zone, but it did hold. And then we get here this strong candle. And exactly when the scanner finds such a situation, you would get a strong signal alert. This is a strong sell signal in this case. So the scanner does all the work for you. It waits that the price comes back, it checks the price action here on this area, and then it gives you the alert when that scanner tells you, yes, the zone reacted, the zone did hold, and now it seems to go lower. So it is a strong signal that we can here go into a sell trade. And you see in this case, from this upper end of this zone to max, we had here 340 pips in max. And so if you had gotten here the strong sell signal, you had no work to do. You had just to wait for this signal, and then you make your last decision if you really like the chart picture, if you like the price action, and then you open your sell trade. You place the stop loss above here this white box, or if you want to have a little bit more room, then you could place the stop loss above this two spikes here of these candles, and then you are good with it. And this is the nice thing with these new strong signals. The scanner does a lot of work for you, and you have just to wait for these strong signals. And here's an example that such a strong signal did work. We got a signal here, strong buy signal on a demand zone on the current time frame. You can see this is our demand zone we are talking. The price came back here into our demand zone, and then you see a lot of spikes at the end of these red candles, which is a first sign that this zone is strong and could hold. And then you see this strong green candle here, and with this chart picture the scanner tells you, yes, we have now a strong buy signal. This is a good setup to go into a trade, but still it's only a signal. You are the person, you have to decide if you want to go into this trade or not. There's no 100% guarantee that these signals work, like every other indicator on the market, okay? Supply and demand trading is very, very powerful. You saw this in the previous videos, and these strong signals are very powerful, but this does not mean that you will get 100% winners. But with these strong signals, you shift your opportunities to the right side, so to the side where you normally face more winners than losers, because this is clear price action for a buy trade, of course. You see this big green candle, it's an engulfing candle, it engulfs all these candles before, and so this is of course a strong buy signal. We don't know if the market holds, if the buy situation holds, but this is based on price action, a strong buy signal. If there are some news in the market, news we don't know before and we couldn't know before, of course it can turn against us. But based on price action theory, this is a strong buy situation, and this is what the scanner tells you here. And there's another example here on the euro pound. In this case, you see we have the same. Here is a demand zone. It has been created with this massive up move here in the volume which is pushed in the market. The price here came back, and here we have the situation, like I told you in previous videos, which I like really, really much, that with the tip here of this upper end of our demand zone, the price immediately reacts. You can see it dips a little bit into this zone and then it goes up again, and this is also a strong signal for the scanner, so it would give you here a strong buy signal. The price action, based on the price action theory, it is not a buy trade yet because we have no engulfing buy candle here, but based on supply and demand trading and how this zone reacted after the price came back, it is a strong buy signal. But this is something you have to discuss. If you see this signal, then you have to decide if you want to take it. It's a strong signal for the scanner, but it is you have to check if it's a strong signal for you too. Do you want to go in this buy trade even there is not an engulfing green candle at the moment, but the reaction is so good here on this demand zone? Or do you say, no, I think the euro pound is not my pair today, I skip it, okay? But the scanner does the work for you. It gives you the alerts, and you have so little work to do, okay? You have just to wait for this alert, and then you decide if you want to go with this supply or demand trade or not. And if you use the method where you can scan all the pairs on your chart, you simply sit in front of your screen, or you are in work and you wait until you get an email from the scanner, or on your mobile phone a push notification, and then you decide if you want to go into such a trade. So you don't have to draw all these supply and demand zones, you don't have to wait that price comes back to a zone and then you have to wait what happens next. All we saw in the previous videos before, if you do manual trading these zones, the scanner does basically for you. You just have to wait for these alerts. So I showed you now all alerts which are possible with the supply and demand indicator. And normally you would choose your pairs you want to go. At the current week, for example, you have maybe 4, 5, 6 pairs you want to trade this week. Then you would attach the supply and demand indicator to these 5 or 6 pairs. You would activate the alerts which you like the most, and then you would wait and what happens on these pairs. This is the one method you can do. The other method you can use is the built-in algorithm from the indicator, which scans all the pairs for you. It uses the pairs you have here in your market watch window. So all the pairs you have here in your market watch windows, the indicator can observe and scan for you in the background. So you would only attach the indicator to one pair. It's regardless to which pair you start, for example here on the Euro Yen, and then you tell the indicator, now please scan for me all these pairs, and if you find a good one to trade, then please give me an alert. To do this, we go back into the settings of our scanner, and the first one which you have to activate is Show Change button. This is this button you see here in the right upper corner. You can change the corner here in this field. So the 1 stands here for this right upper corner. You can change the number from, for example, to 0 or to 2, and then it changes to a different location here. So, and the next thing you have to do is, like I told you, Show Change button, you set this to true so that you see this button here. If you don't want this button here and you don't want to use this built-in algorithm to scan the pairs, you can turn this to false. Then this button disappears, but then you can't use the built-in scan method of this indicator. And then you see here a change based on TF, which stands for time frame. This is tells the scanner based on which time frame you want to do this scanning. This has nothing to do with demand zones or supply zones the scanner finds. Basically, it tells only the scanner how often you want to get a signal. If it should only watch the 60-minute chart, then it maybe scans slower because it waits every 60-minute candle to rescan the stuff and so on. If you turn this, for example, to 5, it will look to every close of a 5-minute candle and will then rescan all these pairs. And I will tell you at the end of the video which is the perfect number in my opinion. So, but it's important to know this number has nothing to do which demand or supply zones you will see or you will get an alert for. This is only which time frame the scanner uses to rescan your pairs. Okay, I will tell you a little bit more about it at the end of the video, but let's phase on the scan method itself. So we have turned this to true, and then we are good to go for the scan. And now you see here it says Start Auto Change. If you click now on this button, the scanner begins to scan in the background all the pairs of your market windows watch window here. So we click here on this button, and then you can see it tells you it changed now to Stop Auto Change. This means if you now click again on this button, it would stop your scanning. And you can see here in the desktop alert, Auto Change symbols started. This means you allow now the scanner that it can automatically switch to another pair and switch to a pair where is an alert on. So this is different to the scanner you know maybe from me from the Ultimate Scanner, for example. The Ultimate Scanner has a dashboard where you see all the alerts for all the time frames and pairs. This is totally different here with the supply and demand indicator. If you have started the scan process, the scanner now scans in the background all these pairs, and based on the alerts you have set to true, okay? You saw the 4 possible alerts, and if you have all turned to true, the scanner will now scan in the background for all these 4 alerts, for example. And if it finds a pair with a really good alert, it will switch to this pair and display the alert here on the chart, okay? So you don't see all the stuff which is going on in the background. You still have to wait now until the scanner switches to a pair and shows you which alert it found on or did found on this pair. So you will see from time to time that the scanner switches to a different pair without give you an alert. The reason for this is that the scanner sometimes needs to switch to a pair to gather more data from your broker, and so it switches to this pair, it gathers all the data, and it gives no alert, okay, because it simply has to change to this pair to look deeper into what is going on this pair. So you will see from time to time that the scanner switches to a pair without an alert. This is a total normal behavior. There's nothing wrong with your scanner, okay? And the other thing is that it switches to a pair and gives you an alert, and then it has found an alert on this specific pair, and then you can check the pair. If you sit in front of your screen, you can check it and say, okay, there has been an alert found, and now I check this pair if I want to trade it. Just in the moment, the scanner switched to a new pair and it found an alert. Price is in a supply level on pound Swissy on the current time frame. So this is an alert for an in-zone alert. Remember, I have turned all the alerts on for this presentation, and it switched now to this pair because it has found here this in-zone alert. And in the opinion and the calculation of the indicator, this is a really good example for an in-zone alert. It will not show you all the alerts it finds, I have to tell you this. So it shows you the best ones if you have this algorithm turned on for the background scanning. So you will not get all the alerts for all the pairs, because then you would go crazy, because there are so many alerts, especially if you turn all the 4 alerts on, and it would always make ping, pang, pong, and you see hundreds of alerts all day long. So in this automatic mode, where the scanner scans through the pairs, it shows you only the best of all these alerts you can choose. And so you got the alert, and now if you want to make an analysis for this pair, if you sit in front of your screen and say, okay, just a moment, I want to see what is going on, then you click here on this button and you pause for a moment the scan process so that the scanner does not switch to another pair or to another alert. So we click here on this button. Now the scan process in the background goes further, but it does not switch to a new alert. So it stays now on this pair. So you can, for example, now trade this pair, for example. You can open a trade if you want. Or you can wait what the pair is doing. You see it's now in the supply zone, and we just now could wait for price action. Does this zone hold? Goes it further down, for example? And then we could trade this pair. Or we decide, it looks like it's going up here. It's a strong up move here. I don't like this pair at the moment. Let's go to another signal. So I click here on OK, that this window disappears. And then I click on Start Auto Change. And from this moment on, you can see auto change started. And from this moment on, you allow the scanner that it now can give you another alert. So the scan process is going on in the background all the time. But if it now finds another signal, it will switch to this pair and give you the next alert. But only if you allow it. So if you stop it here, then you can see stopped. Then the scanner stays on this pair and does not change. And if you allow it, then the scanner will give you new alerts and switch to new pairs. Okay, with this method, you can do all the analyze. You have all the time to analyze it without that the scanner switches to a different pair, and then you decide what you want to do. And of course, you get the alerts to mobile phone or to email. So if you allow the scanner to scan through the pairs, you simply wait, for example, on email alerts or mobile phone alerts, and then you can also decide what you want to do, and you get all day long alerts from the indicator. So this is the method I normally use, and I show you which setting I normally use for trading. But you have to decide for your own if you want to go with this method or if you want to build your own one. Okay, this is how I use the indicator the most. Firstly, I use here normally indeed the single time frame mode if I let a scanner decide to scan automatically through the pairs, because the scanner of course scans through all time frames, and if it finds an alert, I want to see exactly the time frame where this alert is on. This is the reason why I use the single time frame, that I have a clear chart picture and I don't get confused with all the different supply and demand zones. Okay, so this is the single time frame mode I use. I don't use the approach alert, I don't use the in-zone alert, and I don't use the fresh zone alert. I only use the strong signal alerts because I like this entry method and I want to go with this one. Of course, we have to turn this to true, that the indicator can change to different pairs and scan in the background. And indeed, I use here for the change-based time frame the 60-minute charts. This does not mean that you get only every 60 minutes an alert, okay? The scanner uses the 60-minute candles to scan in the background, but it's a very complicated process. It would take me hours to explain this to you. Simply, it is, if you use here the 60-minute time frame as reference for the scanner, you will get maybe, let's say, 20-30 signals a day, okay? Because the indicator uses as reference the hourly chart and the trend on this hourly chart, and based on this it filters out which alerts are the best, okay? If you would here enter the 5-minute time frame as reference for the scan process, it will look on the 5-minute chart, it will look for every candle on the 5-minute chart, and based on the trend on the 5-minute chart, it will decide which alerts you will get. And then you will get a lot of alerts, because the 5-minute chart is very tricky and volatile, and the trend changes very often, and then you will get maybe 40 signals, 50 signals a day if you go to such a low time frame. And basically this 5-minute time frame is maybe good if you are a scalper and you want to get a lot of signals, and you don't care about the trend on the higher time frames. Then you maybe go with this as a reference. It's only a reference. Of course, you would still get alerts on the H1, on the M30 time frame, and so on. But the scanner uses, in this case, the 5-minute chart as a reference. What is a good or bad alert for you? So in the most cases, I use the 60-minute time frame because I think it's a stable time frame. The trend is very good to see on this time frame, and the scanner does not give you too much signals, but enough for a trading day. So normally I get here 15 to 20 signals a day. It depends a little bit, of course, on the movement of the charts and what is going on the market. So but normally 10-15 signals every day during the European and US session, and even in the Asia session you will get some signals if you use this, and you use a very stable time frame as reference for this. Still remember, it has nothing to do which time frames the scanner scans. It's only the reference time frame for the scanner to look on trends and so on. Okay, there is a lot of going on if the scanner goes in the background through all your pairs. I would not use a higher one. For example, you could say I go with the daily time frame, then it's the 1440. It's 1 day, so it's in calculated here in minutes. Because then you will not see a lot of signals. You use as reference the daily time frame, which is okay basically for trends and so on, but you will maybe then only see maybe 3-4 signals a day. And I think that daily time frame is not the best for supply and demand trading as a reference, based on as a reference for the trend. I would really go with M30, so for example 30, or the 60, which I use the most in this case. So if you have this setting, the scanner uses the hourly chart as reference for the trend, and our let's say trend, it uses some different methods to calculate a trend, but still it's the reference time frame. It gives you only alerts for the strong signals, no other alerts. And so if you click now here on OK, then the process starts, and then you simply wait now that the scanner finds a strong signal on any of these pairs here. And if it finds one, it will give you the alert. And that's it. So I wait simply for the alerts. I have now set up my indicator. It scans in the background all this pair for strong signals. It uses the hourly time frame as a reference. And if it has found some signal for me, I get the alert here on the desktop or by email or mobile phone. And this is so a nice way to trade. There is no hurry, no rush, no work for me to do to go through all these pairs and look what is going on. I simply wait here in front of my screen, or I sit maybe in the garden if it's summer, and then I have my mobile phone with me, and then it makes ping, and I see, oh, there's a new strong alert from my indicator, and then I check the chart by mobile phone, or I go here in my office, in my room, and I check here then the big charts here on my screens here. And that's it basically about the alerts from the supply and demand indicator. My recommendation is that you play a little bit around with it, that you get the idea what is behind all these alerts, and then you have to find your way of trading supply and demand, and which is the alert you like the most, or the alerts you like the most. You can turn them all on at the beginning, for example, that you turn all the alerts on, and then that you can see all the alerts and what the scanner tells you, and that you get a feeling for the supply and demand trading and the indicator itself. And you will see, you will really like it. I can't imagine to do it without the indicator, and I can't imagine to do it without this alert, especially this strong alert, which is new in this 2023 version, is so helpful, and it makes so much fun to wait for the signals and then to see what price action does and to jump into a trade, and the success rate is really good. Okay guys, this was my part of the alerts from the scanner. I hope you enjoyed the presentation. If you have more questions about these alerts, and if you don't understand maybe something, you say, okay, it was too fast, can you explain this a little bit deeper? Of course I can do this. You can write to support@metagrid.com, or you watch on my website on www.metagrid.com, and you can then send your question to us or to me. And then you can also use, of course, the Telegram groups, which are linked below this video, and then you can join this free Telegram group and can ask there your question. And we have always helpful traders on these Telegram groups which support you with and give you help, whatever question it is. Have a nice day. Until the next time, goodbye.